Hey friends, welcome back to Content Creation Challenge. I'm Elena Motonono and I help online language teachers and coaches grow their businesses in a smart and sustainable way and on their own terms. I want to remind you that our Smart Teachers Library is now open. It's a community for online language teachers and coaches who need help on their journey, as well as support and encouragement and a safe place to land. So if you need a place like that, we're open. The enrollment is open right now, and there's a link in the description. Today, I want to talk about creating fast and honoring your time commitment. If you do not have a structure for content creation where you know today, from this time to this time, I'm creating something. And by the time I'm done, I will have to have one piece of content ready or two pieces of content or however many you need. If you do not have a system like that in place, then you will constantly be putting things off, perfecting, procrastinating, or trying to find reasons why you can't or you won't. So today I'm going to introduce you to my own system, how I post things on a regular schedule, and I've been doing this for years and years. And I have really little issues that come up. And when they do come up, I've learned to create a system that will allow me to get out of my daily commitment of creating content and using something from the past or developing it, or maybe adding some edits or minor changes and tweaks and creating and posting content anyway. So that is a really important thing and skill to develop, and it's not something that is only available to people that have been doing that for a long time. You can do that as well if you allow yourself to maybe start as a beginner, to not be perfect and be okay with not being perfect, remembering that done is better than perfect. And if you don't remember that, you can go to one of the videos in the series where I talked about perfectionism and what it does to us. So let's go to the page, and I'm going to share with you now how I create things fast. There is a system that I follow, and it's very, very easy. So in the middle, I'm going to use in the middle, I'm going to draw the clock. So that's our time. It's all the time that we have in the day. Of course, we can't work around the clock, so we need to be very shrewd about how we use our time, what we produce in the time that we set out to use a certain, time to create, what we do with that time, and what we share at the end of that time. Because sometimes you show up to create content, you end up going down some rabbit hole on social media. And it's okay to do once in a while, but if it becomes a habit, then there's probably more things at play. Maybe there's fear, maybe there's perfectionism that you need to address. But here are some things that I would recommend. Number one, set regular times for content creation. So for me, every morning, when after the kids go to bed and to school, sometimes when they were very little, that would be the time when they went to bed, because that's when I knew it was very unlikely they would show up in my office. But now, thankfully, they are at school. So after they leave for school and I'm done with a couple of errands around the house, then I sit down from about 9 to 10-ish. I have that 1 hour to create content. And usually that's the time when I make these recordings, and that's the time when I post things on social media or do whatever else it takes that is daily. Now, for weekly, I might add this task after. So let's say I send weekly newsletters, so I will put it later or maybe in the afternoon. But I try to do all of my creative work in the first part of the day. And that's why when I can, well, on my calendar, I actually have a setting where nobody can book the time before 10 unless it's something that is really important. I have a meeting or I record podcasts, which is also part of my content creation. So that will work. But most of the time, I start my coaching either 10 or 11, depending on the day. Then the second, honor your commitment. And I know, I know how easy it is to say, well, I just spent all this time looking at ideas or seeing what other people are doing. And another part of my routine is that I do not go on social media, or I do not generally, as a general rule, because I cannot always say that never happens. Of course, it happens once in a while. But I do not check my email around this time, and I do not go on social media. And if I do, I am very disciplined to only be there for like 5-10 minutes, and then I'm done to go back and create. Number 3, get in the habit of writing things down. I have ideas right now because I constantly set the time to create. I have ideas that come to me at any time. And I have notebooks and I have journals, and I write them everywhere. Not on small pieces of paper, though. Mainly in my notebooks and my journals. I have 2 journals, the morning journal, the evening journal, and I have a notebook where I just write my weekly tasks and ideas as I coach somebody and so forth. So I know if I had an idea and I can't find it, I know it's in one of those 3 places. Writing things on pieces of paper doesn't really work. So writing them down, and I'm going to just show this with a little notebook. It helps to write things down. And why? Because if I need an idea, I know, and I can maybe even just feel a lot calmer because, oh, I don't need to create something. I already have an idea in my notebook and I can go and just develop that. And it's so amazing. It decreases your anxiety and this whole time becomes really, really productive. And especially when you get this done. And number 4, make space for recycling. Now, there are times that happen. My kids are home because of a holiday or because they're sick. If it's a holiday, I usually block the time and I don't do much of the work anyway, or I pre-schedule things. But there are times when they get sick or something happens or maybe some weather issues. So then I have these emergency plans, and that's when I recycle things. That's when I go to my previous posts, either in Canva or maybe in my Google Doc where I write stuff, and I just pull out one idea and maybe develop it or maybe just post it the way it is. Sometimes in Canva, I add bigger font, maybe change pictures, but that will be it. I make space for recycling. And this is the time that I do my writing, my video, podcast, and social media. Now, It doesn't mean that I'm doing it in the afternoon, but I'm just writing all the things that I consider creation. Now, if something I do, whatever I do every day, then I will do it in the first hour. Whatever I do weekly, the newsletter, or maybe my podcast that I batch way in advance, months in advance. Um, I I do it throughout the week, or like I find specific days where I know I will have the time. I have one day on Tuesday that is my admin day where I don't schedule any meetings, and that's when I can catch up on all the writing. So that is how it works for me. And I'm just going to quickly color it in because it helps as we do that. The most important thing with getting things done, um, about getting things done, is remembering that by getting things done, you're honoring your commitment to yourself. So if, for example, somebody asks you to do something, for the most time, you will honor that commitment, right? Unless something comes up. But if you have an appointment, you will show up. If you have a meeting of some sort, you will be there. If somebody asked you to do some work or translate and they paid you, you are going to get the stuff done. You are honoring the commitment that you made to the people that asked you to do something, okay? In the same way, you need to treat your own content creation and showing up as something that you do to honor yourself. You told yourself that you're going to show up and create at this time, and there is no excuses. That's not the time to go and scroll through social media. It's not the time to do other things. You just show up and you do it, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter that maybe you made a typo. I mean, you tried very hard. Of course, you put the best of yourself out, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way, and that's okay. And that's totally perfectly fine. You're putting the best that you can put today. Tomorrow, maybe you will be able to record faster and you will be able to work through your fears and your perfectionism and whatever else is keeping you from getting the work done, and you will do it better. There might be days when you will not be able to show up for the reasons that are not dependent on you, and for these days you create your emergency plan. Well, I hope this was helpful to you today. I am so glad that you are able to follow this content creation challenge. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments. I know some of you are responding, some of you are probably putting this into practice, and I'm really looking forward to hearing from you what your challenges are and how I can shape and mold my own content to address those challenges. Of course, I hear a lot of the challenges in the coaching session or in our community. People ask me very specific things about content creation, but if there's something that I have not included in these videos, I would love to hear that from you. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Have a wonderful day.